Hello everybody, thanks for watching What's New Biology. Today's subject is going to be on hypomelanism, or commonly known as albinism. Let me tell you what that means. It's the congenital absence of pigmentation in the eyes, skin, and hair, a condition related to the production of melanin in the body, which controls coloring in areas such as skin, eyes, and hair. A lack of melanin usually results in characteristics such as pale skin, white hair, and red eyes, a phenotype which is inherited as a result of a genotype that possesses an inborn error of a metabolism where tyrosine, an amino acid, cannot be broken down within a biochemical pathway involved with melanin. Ooh, looks like we've got a question. Yes. Ooh. So how does someone get albinism? That is a very good question, and I am going to tell you. Albinism is an inherited condition within the gene that makes pigments not produce melanin or very low amounts. Melanin is a natural substance within the body that gives skin, hair, the iris of your eye color. Albinism is a condition that any race can get. Let's show some examples. Skin. The most recognizable form of albinism is milky pale skin. Not everyone with albinism inherits that trait. Some have the same complexion as their parents who don't have albinism. For some, skin pigmentation will never change, or melanin production will begin or increase during childhood and adolescence. With exposure to the sun, people may develop freckles, moles with or without pigment, lentigines, freckle-like spots, or the ability to tan. Hair is up next. Hair color varies from white to brown. African American or Asian people with albinism normally have yellow, reddish, or brown hair. Hair may change during early childhood. Eye color. Eye color can vary from light blue to brown and can change with age. The lack of pigment in the iris makes it hard for the eyes to block out sunlight, which makes the eyes extremely sensitive. Also, because of lack of pigment, makes the eyes seem almost translucent. Because of their translucence, some eyes may appear red and some light. This is because you're seeing light reflect off the back of the eye and passing through the iris. Vision. Signs and symptoms of albinism relating to eye function are rapid involuntary back and forth movement of the eyes, inability of both eyes to stay directed at the same point or to move in unison, extreme nearsightedness or farsightedness, sensitivity to light, and astigmatism. To the left is a normal eye, and to the right is an eye with albinism. You can see the difference in the optic nerve and the visual cortex. People with albinism always have eye problems that cannot be corrected with eyeglasses, and if they don't have very serious eye problems, they do have low vision. This is caused by abnormal development of the retina and abnormal patterns of nerve connections between the eye and the brain. Each person with albinism has different level of visions, depending on the type of albinism they have. Now, let's talk about the different types of albinism. There's OA or OCA. OA, or ocular albinism, involves mainly the eyes. Skin and hair may appear similar or lighter than other family members. This is also less common. And there's OCA, or oculocutaneous albinism, which involves lack of color in eyes, hair, and skin. These problems occur because an ocular albinism type 1 results from mutations in GPR143 gene. This gene provides instructions for making a protein that plays a role in pigmentation of eyes and skin. It helps control the growth of melosomes, which are cellular structures that produce and store pigment called melanin. This is a normal GPR143 gene. Ocular albinism type 1 results from mutations in the GPR143 gene. This gene provides instructions for making a protein that plays a role in pigmentation of the eyes and skin. It helps control the growth of melosomes, which are cellular structures that produce and store a pigment called melanin. Let's briefly look at a chart regarding OCA, type 1, 2, 3, and 4.
2020 followed a diverse group of people living with albinism. It became clear through their stories that we still live in a world where physical differences matter.
She is a stunner.
In Deandra, a symbol of hope wrapped up in a beautiful package, because she is living a model's fantasy.
Known as the world's first albino model.
A career on the rise, like this appearance in Glamour magazine. Deandra embodies the triumph over a disability by embracing her albinism and using the canvas of a beautiful face. In Lancaster, Pennsylvania, Angel is no longer homeschooled. She's back in a real classroom and loving it.
My whole life has changed in this past year. So many things that are so cool.
She says it was only by rejecting her albinism that she's received the most important teenage prize, acceptance.
I came home yesterday and I was all happy. I was like, oh, I didn't want school to end. I never had that feeling for such a long time. But I have so many friends there that I felt like I belonged at school.
Kenyon is now in middle school, and it's been a trying year. Still a bit of an outcast, on top of the typical highs and lows of early adolescence. The one thing that remains steady, his twin brother, Kari, is always by his side. Sadly, the attacks in Tanzania continue. The death toll is now 57. 5 people with albinism have been attacked within just a 2-month period, including this 13-year-old girl whose right arm was severed as she lay sleeping with her mother. And what about Mariamu? She became a powerful advocate, spreading awareness at the highest levels on Capitol Hill. She met with Congressman Gerald Connolly to lobby the U.S. government to take action to prevent the albino killings in East Africa.
I assure you, we're going to do everything we can to make sure that this never happens again.
Less than 3 months later,
Madam Speaker, I rise in strong support of this resolution.
Connolly takes Mariamu's cause to the floor of Congress,
The clerk will report the title of the bill.
introducing legislation as a call to action.
To end these crimes now.
The resolution passed with broad bipartisan support. Back home in Tanzania, a miraculous transformation back to the person she was prior to the attacks.
Mariam didn't come back with the new arms. She has come back with a new spirit, with new zeal. Mariam is ready to face the world. She's a completely new person.
Mariamu enrolled in school to become, of all things, a professional seamstress.
Mariamu is going to be a role model for all persons with albinism. That even when you lose your limbs, you shouldn't give up.
But I remembered the first time I sat down with her. She had one ultimate wish. What's the most difficult part of day-to-day life after the attack?
I miss feeling the love of my son because I can't even carry or hug him anymore.
And here is mother and son today.
The development of dark skin in humans living in areas of high ultraviolet radiation was an elegant solution to a complex biological problem that saw them perfectly adapted to their environment. It required the precise combination of more than 100 genes, providing the genetic codes essential for survival. But surprisingly, hundreds of thousands of years of evolution can be swept away by a single mutation.
Good morning, class.
Good morning, Mr. Mariki.
How are you?
Fine, thank you, Mr. Mariki.
Fantastic.
Sisters Grace and Martha Nzoma have inherited a rare genetic disorder. Both suffer from albinism, an absence of pigmentation in their skin and in the irises of their eyes.
Are you ready for the lesson?
Yes.
Very good. Now, I want you to have your mathematics books.
Albinism is caused by a major DNA mutation, leaving sufferers with an almost total lack of melanin. For every baby born to parents carrying the mutation, there's a 25% chance of having a child with albinism. But Africans with albinism do face tremendous discrimination for a trait that among Northern Europeans would go virtually unnoticed.
In Africa, everybody is dark. So you tend to really stand out because you're different. I did some studies when I was a student in England, and I think that was the time I felt most comfortable in life because with maybe a few exceptions, people could quite tell who I was. Was I from Kenya? Was I from Scandinavia? So it's okay.
Martha and Grace's fair skin provides them little protection from the high UV levels of their equatorial home in Kenya. Here, dark skin has been essential for survival for over 1 million years.
The unfortunate thing about albinism is that there's no cure. But in order to keep people protected from the sun if they have super sensitive skin, is to wear multiple layers of clothing, stay in the shade, and wear sunscreen a lot. And then if you have super sensitive eyes, the best thing to do is get prescription contacts or sunglasses and visors. The disease was discovered by Archibald Garrett. He discovered it sometime around 1908. He first started observing animals with albinism. Then he noticed humans can have the disease also, and extended his research into humans. He would examine people with hypersensitivity to light and eye misalignment. That concludes today's show. Thanks for watching.